I've been a coach since 2002, so way over 20 years. And I have coached people at all levels of an organization. My focus is purely on executive coaching. And one difference that I noticed when I coach very top level executives versus more middle level or lower level executives is the complexity that they have to deal with. Now, that's not true for everyone, but I would say for over 90% of the C-level executives that I have been coaching. And for a coach, I'm usually not the expert in the business of my coachees, of my clients. I'm the expert in coaching, but not in their business. And yet they often share with me very complex situations, often quite industry specific, and I may not even understand everything that they are saying. And when I was still an inexperienced coach, I thought I need to understand everything they are telling me. And I would often ask clarifying questions like, what do you exactly mean by that? Can you explain what that term means? And so on. And I realized that many of these questions that I used to ask in the past were actually not very useful for my coachee, but useful for me to better understand what their business is about. However, I also realized that actually these things are not that important. These details in most of the cases didn't really matter whether I know it or not. And so it took me a while to figure out that actually quite a lot of clarifying questions that I used to ask actually don't need to ask. And at the same time, I need to really get what this is all about. I need to sense what's going on. So I actually learned to move more and more from just hearing everything that's going on to really sensing what's going on, and then really ask pertinent questions that are really useful for my very senior coachees. Because if I just ask them questions about things that they already thought about themselves, I don't really add any value. But if I start to sense something that they may have not realized, they are not conscious of, and suddenly it opens up a new door, a new insight, then I really add value to them. But for me as a coach, that means I need to have a very specific kind of presence. It's not enough to just try to sense. I actually need to somehow be detached while fully being engaged. And that's not an easy thing to do, but it can be learned. So coaching top executives, I found, is really important. When you coach top executives, it's really important to sense, but to sense you need to be detached. And to be detached, you need to really let go of trying to understand everything and yet be fully present so that you get what's going on.